My stepdaughter threw a dinner plate at my son's head and screamed, "I'm on my period," as an excuse. When I asked my girlfriend to discipline her, she sighed and said, "It's a woman thing. I don't expect you to understand." I stayed silent. That was 7 months ago. Yesterday her daughter was arrested for assaulting another one. Prat too. I called my girlfriend that night and told her we needed space. The words felt heavy coming out of my mouth, like stones I'd been carrying for weeks. She went ballistic on the phone. Her voice cracked and rose to a pitch I'd never heard before. She said I was destroying our family and turning Derek against Francine. I could hear her pacing, the floorboards creaking under her feet in that familiar pattern she made when she was upset. I stayed calm and told her Derek's safety was my priority. She hung up on me with such force I could almost feel it through the phone. My mom made Derek's favorite dinner again, spaghetti with extra meatballs and garlic bread. But he barely ate. He pushed the noodles around his plate, making little mountains and valleys in the sauce. He kept asking if Francine hated him. His voice was so small, so different from the confident little boy who used to chatter nonstop about dinosaurs and space. I told him it wasn't about hate. Some people just handle emotions differently. He nodded, but I could tell he didn't really understand. How could he? He was only 9. That night he had nightmares and ended up in my bed. He crawled in around 2 a.m., his little body shaking, pajamas damp with sweat. He didn't say anything, just curled up against me like he used to when he was younger. I held him until his breathing evened out, staring at the ceiling and wondering how everything had gone so wrong. The next morning, my girlfriend showed up at my mom's door at 7 a.m. She was crying and begging me to come home. Her makeup was smeared and she was wearing the same clothes from yesterday. She said Francine was devastated that we left. I told her we could talk, but Derek was staying with my mom. She agreed and we went to a coffee shop. The place was mostly empty, just us and a few early morning commuters. She spent an hour telling me how hard it was for Francine to adjust to having a stepdad and stepbrother. She ordered her usual, a caramel macchiato with extra whip, but didn't touch it. I listened, but kept thinking about the bruises on Derek's leg, purple and green like some twisted watercolor painting. I told her I needed to see real changes before we came back. She promised to get Francine therapy. Her hands shook as she said it, whether from caffeine withdrawal or emotion. I couldn't tell. I said that was a good start, but I also wanted family counseling. She reluctantly agreed, her jaw tight with resistance. I went back to the house that afternoon to get more clothes for Derek. The familiar turn into our neighborhood felt strange, like visiting a place from a dream. Francine was in her room blasting music. The bass thumped through the walls, making the family photos in the hallway vibrate. I knocked and told her I was just getting some things. She opened the door and stared at me. Her eyes were cold, calculating, nothing like a typical 13-year-old's. Then she said Derek was a baby who couldn't handle anything. I didn't respond and just got the clothes. I grabbed his favorite superhero shirts, the soft pajamas with rockets on them, and the stuffed elephant he'd forgotten in his rush to leave. As I was leaving, she yelled that her mom would choose her over me. I kept walking, but her words followed me out the door. That week, Derek stayed with my mom while I worked. He seemed happier, but still asked about going home every day. When can we go back to my room? He'd ask, and each time it broke my heart a little more. I told him we were working on making home safer for everyone. My girlfriend texted constantly asking when we were coming back. Her messages ranged from pleading to angry to desperate, sometimes all three in a single text. I told her after we had a family counseling session. She finally agreed, and we scheduled one for Saturday. The counseling session was a disaster. The office smelled like vanilla candles and had those generic inspirational posters on the walls. Francine refused to talk and just sat there glaring at Derek. When the counselor asked her about the incident with Derek's leg, she said he was lying. My girlfriend immediately backed her up saying Derek exaggerates. Something inside me snapped. I pulled out my phone and showed the counselor the pictures. The bruises looked even worse on the small screen, undeniable evidence of what had happened. Francine started screaming that I was trying to get her in trouble. The counselor, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, suggested individual sessions for Francine first. My girlfriend agreed, but I could tell she thought it was unnecessary. Her face had that pinched look she got when she was humoring someone. We left without resolving anything. Derek was quiet in the car. He asked if Francine would ever like him. I told him we couldn't control how others felt, only how we acted. He seemed to think about this seriously, then asked if we could get ice cream. We did. That night my girlfriend called and said Francine was refusing therapy. She said I was ruining her daughter's life by making such a big deal out of normal teenage behavior. I asked her what was normal about physically attacking a child. She said I wouldn't understand because I'd never had a teenage daughter. The accusation stung more than I expected. I hung up. The next few days were rough. Derek missed his toys in his room. He especially missed his train set that was too big to bring to Grandma's. I tried to make it fun at my mom's, but I knew he wanted to go home. I started seriously looking at apartments during my lunch breaks, scrolling through listings on my phone. I found a nice 2-bedroom place close to Derek's school. It had a small balcony and windows that let in lots of light. I put in an application without telling my girlfriend. Then Wednesday happened. I got a call from Derek's teacher. She said he'd been crying at recess, and told her he was scared of his stepsister. She was concerned and wanted to know if everything was okay at home.